Hey, I'm Lexi Ashton, and I am from Plymouth Meeting, Pennsylvania. I've marched a ton of different places, starting with Plymouth White March High School, Westchester University, Hawthorne Caballeros, Bushwhackers, Black Watch Search Independent, and now Fusion World for 2021. I'm super excited that Chris asked me to do this and that I can look through my color guard journey with the photos that he took. And now it's time to go inside the shot with Chris Marr.
Hi, everybody. It's Chris Marr. I'm so excited to have Lexi Ashton here with me. I've been taking Lexi's photo for a while, going back into high school, but didn't always know, who she was. But eventually I met her mother, and her mother was very good at pointing her out on the floor to me before they would come on the floor, both her and her brother. And so I eventually, over time, got to be able to recognize her out there, and I've seen her in a lot of different ensembles. She's a very dynamic performer, and I'm excited to look at some of her photos. So let's go inside the shot. All right, so this is one of the shots of you when you were in Plymouth White Marsh Guard. I don't remember much about that show, or I don't know if you remember about that show, but maybe you can tell us a little bit about what you remember, or just your reaction to that photo.
Yeah, I was 16 in that photo, so I was very young, still very new to color guard. That was actually my first year on the weapon line at PW, which started a very long journey of me spinning weapon at other places. So that season meant a lot to me. It was a very emotional season because it was about losing your loved one and wanting him to come back. We had a very small guard of 13, I think, that year, and majority of them were seniors, and we had no juniors. So it was a lot of underclassmen learning to step up and be leaders and really coming into our own and growing up really quickly. So the next year that we could be leaders for the guard for the freshmen that were coming in, because we had 14 freshmen coming in the next year. So that was a really in-between year. We didn't really know what to expect, with 5 of them leaving and then gaining 14.
Okay, very good. Let's take a look at the next photo. Okay, so we're looking at Bushwhackers 2017 at the championships, and I love that photo because it just, the look on your face just is one of real satisfaction with how your performance was, and I see that a lot in your face and your in the photos is that you really seem like you're just having a great time out there, and you feel good about what you did, or at least you are faking it if you're not, So what can you tell us about what that show was like, and what it was like to perform that show?
Yeah, so that was my first season at Bushwhackers, and I remember that performance specifically because that was finals, because prelims I had a not so great performance, so my face at that moment probably was not as I just nailed that face. So that picture, I was that was after I had a really, really good run of the first half of our show. And I was really excited. It was that moment where I was I want to be a bushwhacker for as long as I can. That was when I knew I was I want to share this field with these people for as long as I possibly can. And the show was just so fun, and I got to do a lot of things I never really got to do before, and got to experiment and be on a dance line and on a saber line, and it's been amazing ever since.
Okay, that's great. All right, let's take a look at the next photo. All right, so we're looking at Westchester University 2018. The show is really interesting with so much black and white in the uniforms. I ended up doing a lot of edits to photos. I think I did one for you to try to really accentuate that. But I don't actually remember much about what the show was about. So what can you tell us about what that show was?
So that show was based off of the poem Two Roads Diverged in a Yellow Wood. So we had giant yellow trees. There were so many of them, I couldn't even tell you. And they were set up as pathways. So it was always people going down different pathways, different directions. And there was a lot of back and forth. So the black and white was the idea of two stark, very different ideas. So the light and the dark, and being two opposite ends. So it was a lot of the choreography too was back and forth. We would go one motion and then quickly go the other way. So that was a really fun season. We got to go to Indy with that, which was a lot of fun too. So I really love that season.
Okay, very good. Right. And so this was Surge Independent. And the thing I remember about that show is just there were so many kids in that guard that I had known for a long time, and I've been taking their pictures all through high school, and they all kind of ended up there. So it was a fun show to be able to shoot for that reason. You had a lot of good spots in that show, and you could tell us a little bit about what the show was about, and how you felt about your role in that show.
Yeah, so that show was about just basically spring and like the timeline of spring. It starts off as we're rain, everything was blue, our flags were blue, our saber hilts were blue, and then it became green with like the plants growing and everything. And then we went to pink with the rose flags, like flowers blooming. So that was really a lot of fun that year. And that show was a little stressful at times because I had a lot of moments up in the front, a lot of moments where you could see me, which was like new for me. So I was always kind of nervous, but my staff believed in me and that really helped me push through. And I had a lot of really great teammates that year that we all just pushed each other. And that was the year we made semis in Dayton, which was amazing. We did not think that was going to happen.
Mhm.
So that was a really, really memorable season for me for indoor perspective.
Great, great. So, what do you have planned for your future in terms of color guard? You said in 2021 you're in Fusion Winter Guard.
Yep.
Okay, so that's the next thing. What do you know about what that's going to be like, or what are they expecting 2021 to be like?
Yeah, so 2021 is going to be it's just going to be virtual competition. So we're going to be recording ourselves and recording our show and sending it in. And what's really different with that is it's requiring a lot more from us from a performance aspect, because instead of being up close where the judges can see our faces, they're looking at all of us on a really small screen. So you have to be bigger than the screen, which is pushing a lot of us past boundaries that we had set for ourselves. And we're learning more about ourselves as performers. We're pushing past the limitations that we set for ourselves. And that's been a lot of what the audition process was and the early rehearsals that we've been doing. It's been a lot of fun just seeing what I'm capable of that I didn't know I could do as a performer and as a spinner.
Wow, that's interesting. Yeah, the thing that I love about being low and being close is I see that the exaggeration that you have to put into things on the floor for it to project all the way up, and so I get to be able to see it up close. And I love that experience, but it's all about trying to project that up to where the judges are. And I haven't thought about that would be on video. Would certainly be even more of a challenge. It's been a pleasure talking with you and looking at some of your photos. Are you continuing to teach? I know you had been at Hatboro Horsham. Are you still doing that?
Yeah, I'm with Hatboro and Plymouth White Marsh right now.
Okay, very good. Well, this was great. It was fun to chat with you.
It's been amazing going back in time really and seeing myself as a sophomore and realizing how much I've grown and in front of Chris Marr's lens and everything that he's done for the color guard community. With all of our action shots, we always wait and we're like, oh my God, Chris Marr action shots. I want to see if I got one. So I always love getting them. They're always helpful for me to see where I've come as a performer. And I want to thank Chris for asking me to do this and giving me the chance to go inside the shot with him. So thank you so much. And this has been Inside the Shot with Chris Marr.